Good day. The Icap Virtual Career Connections is pleased to present this career enhancement tool for your advancement. The topic of this session is Career Success Stories featuring Open Your Hands to Give and to Take by Immabet Mengisti. We appreciate Immabet Mengisti for generously sharing her success stories for the benefit of many. Who is Icap Professional Services and who is Icap Virtual Career Connections? Icap Professional Services is a social enterprise with the purpose of creating jobs in our community by enhancing employability and strengthening job creators. For more information about Icap, please visit our website at www.icap.net. Let's give you a bird's eye view of the full range of Icap programs. Icap is the home of virtual career connections, enhancing employability anytime, anywhere. Community career promoter, promoting you to the next level. International circle, building your proficiency in English, technology, and social enterprise. Creative Genius Apprenticeship, elevating you to lead innovation. For more information about these programs, please visit www.icap.net and look for a special link for each program. In Career Success Stories, our guests address the following career questions. Question number 1. What are the best insightful career tips that you received from others? Question number 2. What are career lessons that you learned the hard way? Question number 3. What are your career journey stages or milestones? Question number 4. What actions in the past led you to secure jobs? In other words, what did you do right to secure jobs in the past? Question number 5. What actions led you or contributed to your advancements, promotions, and pay raises? Question number 6. What advice would you give to your younger version? Question number 7. What are career-related questions for which you are still seeking answers? Enjoy the presentation.
So our guest tonight is poet and author Immabet Mengisti. I will be interviewing her, facilitate some interview questions, and she's also going to share her story. So Ms. Immabet, I just want to ask if you can introduce yourself and then tell us a short bio about yourself, who you are, what you do. I know I introduced you as a poet and author. If you can tell us what books you wrote or what poems you wrote, and then after that, I will ask you some questions, and then you can tell us your story.
Sure. First, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. It is a great honor to be asked to share my success story. So my name is Immabet Mengisti. I wear so many hats, is how I say. Currently, I work for the federal government of United States, the Department of Treasury, and that is how I pay my bills. But my love is writing. So I had published 4 books, a book of poems, a book of short stories, a memoir, and currently I'm working on my first novel. I work here in Atlanta, Georgia. I work in community radio, Infomedia Radio, supporting the Ethiopian community and giving information. It doesn't have any other purpose than giving necessary information to the public. In addition to that, I am a certified life coach. That's where I am. My short bio.
Thank you for that introduction, Ms. Immabet. So to go to the first question, you have a very vast, area of expertise. And one thing you said that I just couldn't pass is you said you are a poet and an author, but you work for the federal government. That's how you pay your bills, right? So
Yes.
you said your passion is something else, but you are working on something completely different. What do you do at the federal government? Is it related to your passion or is it completely different? Before I go to my next question. So, because a lot of people, younger generation in our area will say, I want to work, I want to work on my, the area of my passion. But sometimes our passion um, doesn't pay the bills. So while we're working on something, we're going to be expert on something else. So how does that work for you? How do you make it happen?
That is a very good question. My passion really is in helping people. So, helping people or sharing what I know. That is where, when you put it to the ground, that's where I am. So, my writing are based on how to empower, or how do we address this question as a society, or how do we correct, or how do we grow together. That's where I write. My writings are based on those things, my poems, my short stories, everything that I write, even my memoirs, like that. But when I started, I also have accounting and business management degree. So when I started working for the federal government, I seek out where I can be helpful to other people. So really, I studied something else totally different from writing.
You mean
However,
other than
I made it.
accounting?
No, the accounting part, even the accounting part. But I made it. I made a point when I find a job. I located a job that I'm gonna be helping other people with what I know. So where I am at the federal government, what I do is I work for Department of Treasury, but I'm usually like a solution giver. I give solution to people who are like in need of or stuck with something. So I came back to my passion.
So although what you're saying is, if I'm not mistaken, although you have an accounting and business management degree and you're working for the federal government, you somehow are turning that job to be about people and finding solution for people.
Exactly.
You can do that. So
Exactly. That's what
somehow
I do.
somehow you're connecting the two together.
Yes.
Powerful.
Yes.
Very powerful. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what do you think is the best insightful career tips that you received from others, if you have? Did anybody in your career give you some advice?
Yes. I have to say the best advice that I got is from my father. And I'm not really sure if it's like insight for living or a career tip, but it works all the time. So I use it all the time in my career, my personal life, and my other areas of life. I use it all the time. And the advice I got from my father is that the hand you open to receive is where the hand you open to give is where you receive. And my father used to say that to me all the time, don't be afraid to open your hands, because that's where you receive. When you open to give it, that's where it comes. The blessing comes to you. So, in saying that, how do I make that related to my career? I made myself available to other people. I made myself I became that person who attended the meeting nobody wants to attend. I volunteered to coach new employees. I volunteered to do the things that other people say, that's not my job. So when I do that, I mean, I thought I was doing this to help the newcomer or that person, but what ended up being happening is my boss's boss, the other area bosses came to learn my name. So when there's a position to be filled, they'd be like, what about that girl?
Mm-hmm.
So it opened a lot of door for me. Although I thought I was giving, I end up receiving in so many folds. So
Yes, very powerful. So the
yes,
hand open is to give is where you receive. So people
right,
think they're doing it for the company, but you really, which you are because you want to give back. But by
right,
doing that, your bosses and your, the VPs or the CEOs of the company, whoever is higher up, will watch that. And then because it's going above and beyond of the duty,
right.
the job description, and then being part of the family, and then the culture and everything. And that's very important. A lot of times
Yes,
people say, that's not on my job description. I'm not doing that. But
yeah,
as you say, you're opening to give, but you're receiving at the same time. So being noticed about knowing your name is very important. So,
right.
when
It's not only that. It's not
yeah,
only that. There is a great satisfaction that comes with giving.
of course, for you,
There
yes,
is like
everyone,
beyond, yeah, yes.
yeah.
So beyond that, uh, whether it's you're giving your time or your understanding. I mean, when I say that I volunteer to things, I was like the go-to person to most everything because I know the best Thai food. I know because I go around talk to people when I volunteer. So I know where the great restaurants are, and then I know who to talk to for what job. I know who, because of I made myself available to everything. Everything came to me, and then in return, when they need something, whether it's the boss's boss, or somebody beyond that, or other departments, they'll be like, who should we talk to in regards to this project? And I became the go-to person. That's how they got to learn my name.
So
So in
do you,
addition to giving.
yeah. So in doing that, so this might be a question for someone who's listening. In doing that, how do people say, well, I don't have time to volunteer. I don't have time to do all the time. How do you balance your time in volunteering and doing things and giving back in the company, and then making sure that you're doing your day job at the same time? How is that balance created?
Um, well, my belief is for something you love to do, you'll find time anyway. And in general, in life, I've been asked this question so many times. You write, you do radio, you work, and da, da, da. How do you come up with this? And you still involved in community. But this is my love. This is my passion, and I've created time for it somehow, because when you look at it, people who drink, they find time to drink. People who run or enjoy exercise, they find time to exercise and to run,
Mm-hmm.
because other people do the things they love to do. So when you love something, to what you do, you'll find time for it. So I don't see it as a burden. I see it as joy, something that brings me back joy.
Okay. Okay. So, do you think what is the lesson that you think you learned the hard way during this career, if there is any?
Oh, yeah, there is. It's overcoming fear. I mean, fear
Okay.
of all kinds. However, my in my career, the hardest thing that I have to overcome is public speaking. You wouldn't know that about me if you know me now, but when I first come to United States, I you know, when we all first come in, you have to learn new language, you have to learn a new culture, you have to, everything is new, and what we don't know. And back in Ethiopia, you probably told, you know, you had to be soft spoken. When you talk, you had to be really mellow or soft spoken or something like that. Or you don't answer unless you ask. Somebody asks you, you don't just. So all that things were kind of, you know, put me in a corner. So even when I know I have to raise my hand and ask question, even when I don't understand what happened and then I need to ask, or sometimes I'll have an answer, you know, there is a question out there and I know the answer for sure, I don't really talk. Because when I start, a couple of times I raise my hand and I start to say something, people say, oh, I don't understand what you're saying. Or you say your accent, or they told me you're very, you know, your voice is so low, we can hear you or something. So I stopped talking, and I was afraid that they will say something to me. So what I start doing is afterwards, after the meeting is over, or if I'm in a classroom, after the class is over, I'll just slowly walk to the person who was leading the meeting or the teacher. I'll just say, you know, for that question that was asked earlier, this is the answer, right? Or I'll say, I had a question, you know, very, and one time, and 99% of the time I will be yelled at. Why didn't you ask this before? You know, this was a great question for everybody. Or I would be told, you know what, we could have discussed this when we were still at the meeting. Why didn't you raise it up? But finally, when I asked this guy who was leading the meeting, and I actually wasn't asking, I was correcting him of what he said. So he said, excuse me, you must think you're very special. You must think you're very special coming after everybody left and suggesting. And I go like, no. I was afraid nobody would understand me if I speak, you know, in a group of people. He goes like, what do you mean? I mean, he was like really loud at that time. He goes like, what do you mean? I'm understanding you now. What do you mean nobody understands you? I was like, oh. So they get it. If I speak, they understand me. And then another time somebody said, I have a question for you. Why aren't you not bringing up these questions or the suggestion when we are sitting in a meeting? And then I said, well, I don't think people can hear my voice. He goes like, your voice? You have this boardroom demanding voice. Why do you assume people don't hear you? And just the light bulb just went on. I said, oh, okay, so they can understand me. Now I can overcome my fear and start acting like everybody else. And I started talking, and slowly but surely I let go of my fear. I conquer my fear of speaking in public.
That is absolutely important. It is our generation, I can say, the generation, I think maybe the first generation who came to this country from Ethiopia. This is the fear that we all had. And I was sharing another information about, you know, being shy and everything last week, and it's very similar. And we were going to miss opportunity to influence, because you have the best idea, you have the best suggestion, but if you don't do it in a meeting environment, people don't assume that you don't know. People actually, it's going to be assumed that we're stupid or you don't understand, you don't know, and it really affects your career. But it's very important that you realize that early on, and that you're able to overcome it. Yeah, the fear of being in a different culture, the fear of being, I have an accent and they don't understand me, the fear of I can speak louder, the fear of, you know, I have to be polite, which is completely against American culture. So I think knowing the culture and understanding the culture of a company, the other thing we have to know, you know, to add to what you said is every company has different culture. So the culture that we have when we come from Ethiopia is something else, you know, something. And then every company has different culture. For instance, working for a federal government and working maybe for a corporation might have a very different culture.
Right.
The federal government may be very lax, and maybe the corporation may be, very fast paced. So people, when they're at work in different companies, have to understand what culture they're working in to be successful. And this is a very powerful story that you shared, and it's very important in our community. What are your career journey stages or milestones, do you say, in the corporate America or wherever it might be?
Yeah. So to me, success has so many forms. So, and the way I define my success is doing what I love. I love writing. And so my milestones, I would say, is so far I have published 4 books, and every book from the beginning stage of it, the idea, how writing it and then editing it and then editing it and then editing it and then sending it to be published and then receiving the first copy of the book, and then moving to the next book, maybe a different genre. Like my first book is a collection of poems. The second book is a collection of poems and short stories. So I moved to a different genre, and knowing how short stories should fit with each other instead of writing just poems. Okay. And then my third book is all short stories. And then I did memoir, which is totally different than writing your short stories. Yeah. And I'm right now I'm writing a novel. So each book is a milestone of its own, from the starting to the ending. And every progress I made every day is just what I consider as my success. Or reaching a milestone is like when I send it off to the publisher and it comes back to me. Excellent. As a book form.
Yeah. Very nice. Different milestones, different successes everywhere. Yeah. Writing 4 books might be really interesting. So, yeah. If you think about your career in the past, whether it's the writing or the other formal job, what actions in the past led you to secure jobs, to secure your jobs? In other words, what did you do to secure those jobs in the past? So the writing is the passion, and the book is different.
And the job world.
Yeah, in the job world. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say it's my attitude.
Okay.
In addition, my attitude, and in addition to my being the best I can be. I can explain what I'm saying. When I say my attitude, I never went to the interview assuming I might not get this job. I always go to the job when I do interview, I am gonna put this in a bag. So I always have the positive attitude. I always think, the world, whatever best the world offer, I deserve it. That's my attitude. We all should think in a positive light of things, because otherwise if we convince ourselves, oh my God, oh my God, I might not get it, then we called it already. But if we were headed, so assuming that we're gonna get what we are worth, and we put our worth where it is.
Very, very much so. So the positive attitude and showing that you can do the job and everything.
Yes. And the other thing is, when I make myself absolutely ready for the position that I am asking for. If I am interviewing for a position, I make sure I am ready for that position. I make sure I know about the company that's hiring me. I make sure I know what type of employee they are looking for. I made myself the best possible candidate to that position. And then once I finish, I made myself ready, and I go with my attitude and my smile. I walk in.
Very good. That's very important. A lot of times people don't study about the company, and they study about, or they prepare themselves for the interview. This is how I'm going to answer it, and it doesn't have to be a canned answer. And being yourself and that's just speaking from your heart will show exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
And the first question last week, for instance, I was interviewing for this big company, and the first question is, so why did you apply for this position? How much do you know about your company, our company? So if I hadn't studied and if I hadn't researched the company, what they do, where they are, how many locations, what their passion is, whether they're for-profit company, not for-profit company, what is their mission, vision, it would be like, oh, so it's just another job. So it's finding work. What you shared right now is, Ms. Mabet, finding work or doing work, looking for another opportunity is work in itself. So you have to prepare yourself very well.
Exactly.
So my next question is, I know that you said attitude to the next. So what actions led you to contribute to your advancement, promotion, pay raises? You have answered it in a way because it's the attitude.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a good attitude at work also. You have said that in the first. If there is anything else you want to add to your answers in that respect, you can.
Knowing what I want helped me a lot. For instance, when I first came to the United States, everybody was studying to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody say, hey, that's why you need to be a nurse. And I went to school to be a nurse. I studied, the prerequisites, I did that. And then I went to I got accepted in nursing school, and I went, I attended a few of that classes. And then the first day that I have to go to the practical, I decided that I want to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because it's not because I don't have a giving spirit, it's just I am a person who carry everybody's burden.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to take everybody's pain with me
to
my home, and I'm going to be burned out in a very, very short time. So I told my family I don't want to be a nurse anymore. So they probably qualified me for crazy, but to me, knowing what we want to do and how we want to continue, advance ourselves and what we want to do is the best thing that the best gift that we can give ourselves. And earlier, before I came on, I was listening to the introduction you guys were doing, and this career advancement centers throughout United States. You can go there and you can fill out these forms and find out what what type of things that you would like to do. We all should do that before we can, oh, everybody want to be a nurse, go to be a nurse. Or everybody wants to be IT and go be IT or be a doctor. No, that's not for everybody. Each of us has our own fingerprints in the world and our purpose in the world. So finding out that, knowing what you want to do and excelling in that is the most important thing.
Very good. Very important. So I want to add something to that. So when this is maybe particularly in our community, the issue in our community, when we come to this country, the parents, especially parents, should listen to these things. And they have this idea of the kids have to go to school to be a lawyer, a nurse, a pharmacist, whatever. And also people are, the community, our community is saying this is the only way you can make money in this country. So you have to be a nurse, a pharmacist, and this and this and that. So that has really a big influence in our community. I talk to a lot of youngsters, including my kids. And my daughter used to tell me, Helen, why don't you study pharmacy? She said, it's so boring, Mom. I can't see myself studying pharmacy. It doesn't matter how much money they pay me. So parents in this country, especially in our age, have to be really, really considerate. Yes, in the beginning, because we are immigrants, we came to this country, we want to be successful, this and that. But as you said, finding your passion, looking for what you really are good at, doing the self-assessment in the America's Job Center, going there and talking to a counselor, going to the universities and talking to a counselor, and doing these things really, really can shape your career in going forward. And these examples, these are life, true examples from Miss Emmabeth, is as true as it can be. So learning from that and then making your life short instead of going and then taking a degree and spending 4 years and having a degree and saying, no, I don't want to be that. It's a waste of time and money.
Yes.
So I think our community should learn from this, and parents also guiding the younger ones. Nowadays, since the generation is changing, it's a bit different. But before, I think we had the hard way. We came the hard way, and we have to learn the hard way, and that's why we're sharing this information. Nowadays, people coming from Ethiopia have a better chance and a better understanding of what the United States is and what the career is. But there are still in our community pockets of people who believe if they don't study nursing or pharmacy that they cannot make money. So we need to understand, we need to know our strength and our passion and everything as we're sharing this story. Hopefully, you're getting something out of this. So, Ms. Emmabeth, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Again, it would be do what you love, and it would be ask, and ask. I mean, ask for promotion, ask for training, ask for better job, ask for better hours. Just ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because if you're employed somewhere and you're doing above and beyond, especially, ask, because the world gives you what you ask for. You don't ask, they're gonna assume you're okay where you are, and then somebody else you trained is gonna be your boss. So
exactly.
Yeah. So you ask if a training was offered and you're not included, you go say, hey, I want to attend that training, and then put your name on the list and better yourself. If you're being passed for promotion, you go ask, well, why was I passed? Why was I not included in this promotion? You may not get that one, but your name will be up on the next one. And please ask for raise, I'm putting this many hours, I'm doing the best, I'm doing, don't be an egg and say so-and-so got it, I didn't get it. No, that doesn't work. Just put your positive thing, your own positive thing, and say, hey, I think I am worth this much. And then the other thing I want to add is the best time to look for another job is when you're employed. If you're not satisfied, if you're passed for something, if you're not being appreciated and you need to leave that company, the best time to look for a job is when you are still employed. So connect yourself again with the headhunters or with other people who might be in your field, networking, whatever. Just that way you show the best of you to your employer, because you're not stressed, you're not grabbing the best job, the first job that comes in your way. You'll be very selective and put yourself where you'll be satisfied and appreciated.
So, Ms. Emmabeth, if you look at your career, and of course your passion, right, as an author, is there anything you're still seeking an answer for in terms of career related questions that's not answered for you, or you're pretty much satisfied?
Well, I'm seeking, it's not the question that's not answered, but I'm seeking, when you work with somebody, of course, there is advantage, a lot of advantage. You have a steady pay and, your hours are set and stuff. But in the meantime, you're playing with somebody else's vision. You're working for somebody, you're playing with somebody else's vision. You're also making somebody else's reach wealthy or whatever. So I'm seeking to be my own boss. I want to walk that walk one day. So, so that's my unanswered question so far, and I'm working on it.
You're doing it, half and half. It's getting there. Absolutely.
It's getting there. Yes. So that is the I wanna see my vision comes to life. And I want I probably not make it stop this one. I'm gonna exercise my own advice and say, you know what, I'm not leaving this job before I can get something. But I'm slowly transitioning to becoming my own boss.
We wish you the best in that.
Thank you.
It's happening. So, Ms. Marie, thank you very much for this insightful stories and motivational, stories that you share, that you're doing. Your career is so vast and so rich, and you made it happen. So hopefully the younger generation or any other people who are listening to us today or listening to this audio will get something out of that. I'm absolutely sure.
Thank you for taking the time to watch these career success stories. More career resources are available at this channel. We greatly appreciate receiving your feedback in the comment section for our future improvement. Make it a fantastic day.